Good morning. Today we're going to continue our lesson in Module 1, Lesson 2. And if you will look at the screen, we are going to answer our essential question through this lesson today. How can I model the relationship between digits in different place value positions? And we've been practicing modeling those on our hundreds chart. So let's start with the problem here that we have. It says to write a multiplication sentence that shows the relationship between 100 and 1,000. So before I can write that sentence, I'm going to go up here and model it on my place value chart. So 100 and 1,000. So I know if I have 100 and I'm going to multiply that by 10, then I would break that down into my 10 hundreds. And then when I have 10 hundreds, I can take those 10 hundreds and I can group those as 1,000. So I'm going to move that over here into, I'm going to write this so it's a little quicker, the thousands. So I started with 100, and I multiplied it by 10, and that gave me 1,000. So if I want to write this as a multiplication sentence, I'm going to come right here and write this out. I could say that 10 times 100 equals 10 hundreds. As we started with 1, we multiplied it by 10, and then that also equals 1,000. So that's a longer multiplication sentence than what we're used to when we're just using numbers, but we're using it in our unit form. So now we're going to go ahead and try to do this again with a different number. So let me clear our board. So this time it says to draw number disc to find the value of 10 times 1,000. So I'm going to draw 1,000 in my thousands place. And remember, if I want 10 times that 1,000, I'm going to represent it here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going off the chart a little bit, but that's okay. So now I can bundle this because that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. So what unit would come next? Right, 10,000. So we're going to have to come over here and label this in our place value charts. So now I have a 10,000 column, so I can move those 10,000s over here to represent one 10,000. So let's continue. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to build to 100,000s. So if I have my 10,000s, and I have one of those, and I'm going to multiply it by 10, then I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 10,000s. So we have 10 disc in our 10,000 place. So I can bundle those 10. So that would be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000. All right, so now we have 100,000 place. I can move over here to the 100,000 column. All right, now let's continue with that same pattern. I'm going to erase here so I don't have to lose all of my headers. So now if I have 100,000, I am going to multiply by 10, my 100,000. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can make a new bundle now because that's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600, 700, 800, 900,000, and then that bundles to a larger unit, 1 million. This is my millions place value. So this helps us to see, again, the relationship between each column, and every time we move to the left in a place value column, we're actually multiplying by 10. Let's look at our next problem here. So this one says to draw the number of discs and write a multiplication sentence to show 10 times 4 10,000s. So let's draw it out first, and then we're going to write that multiplication sentence. So I'm going to start with 4 10,000s. Here's my 10,000s column. I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 10,000s. Now 10 times that, I'm going to represent by drawing them out. I know it takes a little time, and we're going to get to a shortcut on that later in this lesson, but right now we want to keep this visual in our mind as we're doing this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I started with 4 10,000s, but we multiplied it by 10. So that would be one group of 10,000s, another group, and another group. So what I have represented right here is actually 40 10,000s. Because this is 10, 20, 30, 40 10,000s. But since I've bundled those, I can now move those over here. So that would be 100,000 here. And this one would be another 100,000. This 10 would be another 100,000. This 10 would be another 100,000. So now I have 400,000s. So I'm going to write my multiplication sentence with this information. So I'm going to say that 10 times 4,000, 4 10,000s is equal to 40 10 thousands, which is equal, if you can see that right there, equal to 400. Oh, Miss Shaver's writing messy thousands. Okay. And so we saw this as we went. This was our 40 10,000s. This is our 400,000s. And we started with 4 10,000s. We multiplied it. So that's kind of a long multiplication sentence, but that helps us to understand this process and how it relates to each place value when we move it to the left. So let's look at our next problem here. So our next problem is going to be a division problem. So let's think about that for a minute. If I'm in a place value, well, let's talk about how multiplication and division relates. They're complete opposites. So if I'm going to relate that to my place value chart, and if I start and I'm multiplying and I go to the left and it's times 10, what do you think we would have to do to divide if we wanted to do the opposite of that? Right, instead of going to the left, we would move our disc to the right and we're going to reverse it. We're going to exactly reverse what we've been doing. So let's see what that looks like in action. So on this place value chart right here, we're going to do 300,000s divided by 10. 300,000s divided by 10. You know what? Let me see here. I think there's another one that I wanted to do first. That looks a little bit easier. This may be a little out of place. Okay, well we're gonna start with, yeah, that one's a little bit harder. All right, so let's start here with 300,000s divided by 10. So I'm going to put 3 here in my 100,000s place. And we're going to divide by 10 this time. So that means instead of going to the right, we're going to be hopping back. Instead of moving to the left, we're going to hop back to the right. So that would move us to our 10,000s column. And then remember, if we unbundled those, it would look like this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've started here with our 300,000s. We're moving it back to our 10,000s because we're dividing by 10. So it's gonna lessen. We're gonna break this up, and now we have 1 10,000, 2 10,000, 3 10,000s. So if I wanted to write this equation, I could say that 300,000s divided by 10 equals, all right, watch this, we've got 10, 20, 30 10,000s, which also equals, what did we start with right here? 3 10,000s. Oops. There we go. So it's just completely the reverse order of that. Now, as long as we can think about it in that respect, we're going to show you a little bit how to make this a little easier now that we're getting the hang of it. So let's go here and talk about this problem for just a minute. On this problem, we're going to mix things up a little bit. And we are going to now work with two different units. So we've previously been working with just either like 1,000 or 100. But as you can see here, we're going to multiply two units together. So we're going to multiply 300s to 10s. So I'm going to put a parenthesis around that so that we realize that that's just one number. Okay, one number, 300s to 10s. So I want you to turn and talk to a partner, and I want you to discuss how you think that you would multiply 300s to 10s. And I'm going to pause the video right here for just a moment. Okay, so hopefully you guys thought about just breaking it down to our 300s and our 210s. And of course, if we multiply that by 10, we can represent it with our groups of 10. So that's 300s and so I know that when I've bundled these, I'm going to move those over to the thousands column, so I would have 3,000s. And when I bundle these, it's getting a little messy. I've got 2 10s that would move over to the to the hundreds column. I'm running out of room. I'm going to slide them right up here so you can see that. And so now my answer would be 3,200. 3,200 because we have 3,000s, 200. So let's look at this another way without making this so messy. We're kind of getting the idea of it. So let's erase and show you a little bit easier way, especially when we're working with multiple units like that and we don't have them running into each other when we're breaking them down. So here I'm going to draw my 300s again. 1, 2, 3. My 2 10s. 1, 2 10s. And I know that if I'm multiplying this, I'm going to go to the next column. So I'm going to say times 10 moves these 300s to my thousands column. And then here, when I multiply times 10, it moves these 2 10s to my hundreds column. So see here I have 3,000s. And I have now 200s. And if I wrote that in standard form, that would be 3,200. Wow, isn't that pretty cool? That saves us a little bit of time, doesn't it? All right, we're going to go ahead and look at this one. So now we're going to do the same process with division. Now, when I write out a division problem on the computer, there's a way you can go in and find a symbol that will give you this sign. It takes a little work to get to that. So I've written it this way just because that means divided by, and it's a little easier than going and finding my symbols and trying to insert that division sign. So we're going to do this problem right here. We're going to start with 4 10,000s. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 10s. So we're still working with 2 units now. We're working with our 10,000s units and our tens units. And I'm going to divide it by 10, so I know if I'm dividing, I'm hopping back to the right. So I could think of it this way. 4 10,000s divided by 10. I know it's going to hop back 4 to make it 4,000. And when I have my 2 10s divided by 10, it will hop back into my ones place, and that would be 2 1s. So my answer, if I wrote it in unit form, would be 4 10,000s, 2 10s divided by 10 equals 4,000. See right there, 2 1s, and that's where I get those. And then if equals, let's do it in standard form. It would be 4,000. I have nothing in my hundreds column, nothing in my tens column, and represent my 2 1s, and that would be my number. Isn't that a nice way to do that? So you're going to get some time in class today to practice what we've learned, and we're going to be here to support you however that you need it. So I want to show you what you're going to be working on in class. So in class today, or on your own, your independent work here, you are going to work on problem number 1. I want you to do A, and you can go back and circle these as B and C. I want you to do all 3 of those. I want you to do number 2. So if you need to draw your place value charts, I encourage you to do so. That is a visual that will help you figure this out in chart form. So we're just going to use unit form and standard form once you work out these multiplication and division equations. So that's number 2. And I don't have that on here. I also want you to do number 6. It's a word problem, number 6. So I want you to work that one out. So I hope that you have learned today that we can just reverse our, sorry.
Miss Oakley and Miss Mack. If you would please report to room 115, Miss Easterling, room 115.
Okay, sorry about that. So today our lesson was learning how to use multiply with 2 units instead of just 1. And we also were learning how to divide instead of multiply. And so if we go back to our essential question, we modeled on our place value chart the relationship between the different digits when they were in different place value positions. So I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will be back with you real soon. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.